Salam and welcome back to Somali Dispatch, somalidispatch.com. My name is Abdi Gulet. First, it was the accusations of Muslim kids being converted to Christianity at Abarso School and Barwaaqo University. Then the internet came for the alumni with more allegations and pictures of anti-Islamic behaviors. To get answers to these and other relevant questions, we've contacted Abaarso graduates Fahima Abdi Ali and Abdisamad Aadan, who after graduating from Abarso went on to study at Columbia and Harvard universities, respectively. They both joined me from the US where they currently reside. Salam and welcome, Fahima Abdi Ali and Abdisamad Aadan, both Abarso alumni currently in the States. Thank you for accepting the invitation, the both of you. I would ask Fahima, of course, ladies will go first here. If you could tell us how long you were at Abarso and what your educational experiences there was like.
And thank you, Adero. Assalamu alaikum, and both of you. And Adero, I was at Abarso for 2 years, 9th grade and 10th grade. And my educational opportunity there was exceptional. It really was the first place where I had teachers who were committed to my success, my dreams, and my goals. And that's why I love Abarso so much. It was never about people converting me, and it was never about my taking their religion. I don't even know what religion my teachers were observing. And that should tell you something about it. They actually weren't getting paid much, but they were doing so much work to make sure that we had best class education. And I really have great appreciation for them. I'm still in contact with some of them, and I will never forget every single thing that they have done for me. I mean, I barely knew any English when I went to Abarso, and every class was taught in English. And after a semester, my English improved a lot. And my teachers would see me after class to help me with my lessons. And I was able to actually tutor the village kids and the orphan kids from their Gaza Orphanage Center, both math and English. And that should tell you something about the effort that my teachers put into my improving my English skills and other subjects.
We'll get to what kind of teachers you guys had there, but I just want Abdisamad to answer the same question first. Abdisamad, welcome, and if you could give us a brief history of how you got to Abarso and what that experience was like for you as well.
So first, I went to normal public primary elementary school in Somaliland, and by the end of that, like we took the national exam, and usually SOS and like Sheikh Secondary School, most people know it as, and Abarso will hold an exam together for the top scoring students to each take 50 students. So probably like 500 students took the exam, and then they each took 50 students who picked their respective schools. That's how I get to Abarso. When I get to Abarso, like Fahima said, I've never spoken a word of English. I've been taught some words of English. I knew what a girl is and a boy and a smile, few of those words, but like not much of a spoken English, and I could not understand a word of what the teachers were saying, but we were immersed into like basically educational environment that was primarily taught in English. And like through hard work and the support of our families and the selflessness of the teachers that were teaching there, who usually would stay 1 or 2 years and then move on to the next phase of their career, mostly recent college grads, we were able to succeed.
Right. If I may ask you the second, a follow-up question here, Abdisamad. Since Abarso is a boarding school and it's foreign run, as everyone knows, What was the cultural and religious practices there as you were a young person growing up and acquiring all of this knowledge? What do you remember in terms of the Somali culture that you grew up with and your religion?
I would say strictly very Islamic.
Yeah.
Like even by the Hargeisa standards, it was that much more strict, simply by the very self-apparent reason that these are foreigners who came to like a very 100% Muslim land. Not only that, but a Somali society who's naturally suspicious of foreigners, right? So like the entire village that we were located in, Hargeisa, our parents, everybody in the society was very suspicious of these foreigners who are not Muslim, who are spending money on educating our kids. So the spectacle of the entire nation was just focused on the school. So naturally, they will have to be extra careful, which meant we had strict gender separation rules at the school, and like girls and boys like have completely different like dormitories. In if you're caught like even asking for a pencil and someone from the opposite gender, you'll be kicked out and you will be suspended for that. And then if you continue doing that, I know students from my classes who've been suspended forever, expelled actually from the school because they kept like wanting to talk to the girls. And they're like, this is not a space that you can do that in. And then more importantly, it's part of the contract of the school to require like foreign teachers, American teachers mostly, who've been raised in America, to actually observe basically the dress code of the society. So I've never seen a teacher without a headscarf on campus. Unlike in normal Hargeisa, where you see a lot of people like foreigners with NGOs who don't have to cover their head, because there's no rule that says
so the school was pretty much overcompensating. Fahima, if I ask you the same question, if you can tell us, you know, as a young lady, and there's a lot of focus on the young ladies of Abarso these days, what was your Abarso experience like as a Muslim young lady, and what sort of interactions did you have with your teachers?
And yeah, absolutely. So we have a mosque there. When I went to Abarso, I finished the Quran. I was a kid who memorized the Quran. I love the Quran, and I know that, you know, I don't know every single interpretation of every single word in the Quran, but I do know a lot about the Quran, and I prayed. I made sure I went to the mosque. We even had Quran competitions once a month at Abarso. I mean, do you have that in Sheikh Ibrahim? Do you have that in Sheikh Bashir? No, we had that at Abarso. We had students who slept at the mosque. We had imams. We had tarbiyah. We had in Arabic classes. I mean, that's the best thing that any school can offer.
Right. You both heard, obviously, about the rumors. Before I get you to address those rumors, and I think you might have already dispelled them, could you tell us a little bit about your experience, Fahima, when you came to the States, and you know, what was that like for you in terms of hanging on to your culture, coming into a bigger society, and you know, the fear is of parents that when their kids go to foreign land, they experience challenges. What was your experience like, and how did the Abarso network, who helped you get the higher education, help you to navigate as a Muslim young lady in the West?
Yeah, so my mom wasn't actually worried about my faith and or other people comforting me. She knows better. She knows the girl she raised. She knows the amount of effort and she put towards my Islamic education, and I wasn't worried either. I came here, I went to a boarding school, and there were Muslim students there. We had a Muslim club, and we would celebrate Eid. And we did that in college too. And, when we go and visit other Abarso students at, our teachers' houses or Jonathan's mother's house, they respected us. They respected our prayer time. They respected our dietary restrictions and the fact that we don't drink alcohol, we don't eat pork, and they helped us in that way and in so many other ways. So I really didn't receive any challenge with regards to my religion and people disrespecting it or my changing my views. I am a devout Muslim and I am proud of that. I love my religion and I will always love it. And I am someone who isn't going to be converted to any type of religion as long as I hold the values that are very dear.
Abdisamad, similar question. What was your experience like leaving Abarso and Hargeisa and Somaliland behind and coming to the United States? I understand that could be some challenges there. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience in North America?
Yeah, I think I would say it's not easy. It's not easy to come from 100% Muslim nation, not 100% Muslim, but 100% Somali. I'm not even Somali, like 100% Somalilanders. Like we speak in the same dialect, we eat the same food, we eat lahar in the morning, and then we eat rice in the for lunch, and then I mean it's like we knew the terrain and everything, and it was so familiar, and we were raised there for 18 years, and then to come from there to like, I mean, and it's a very developing country, right? Like everybody knows, to come from there for the first time and then be thrown into like one of the elite, like one of the most respected like institutions in the world, educational institutions in the world, it's not an easy transition culturally. But what a lot of, I mean, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, the kind of audience that will be hearing to this, like listening to this. I felt as uncomfortable as you guys felt when you first came here. There is no denying about that. And even the people that you would raise in America, when like they live under the shelter of your comfort and you send them off to like a really good college, they face similar struggles. But the reality is that Abarso students are not the only people, like the only Muslims in these institutions. There are Islamic societies, there are Muslim student associations, unlike any other adolescent. Yeah, like we face challenges and all that, but it's natural. And those challenges are faced by even people who come there with very strong Christian background or Jewish background for that matter, or from Hindi background, because all of a sudden you come from the comforts of your little village to like a place where a melting pot of all kinds of beliefs and viewpoints.
Right.
So then it just comes back to like, what kind of house were you raised and what kind of values have you been instilled in you? And as you struggle, what's your like point of return? And what made it easy for me, at least at Harvard College, we had a chaplain that was just like had a full-time work to actually give like Jum'ah khutbah, and we had Islamic students like society. We had like Harvard Islamic Society is pretty well known. We had masalla that we used to pray in. Like sometimes even when events happen in Muslim countries, we will come gather and then read the Quran and pray for them together.
Right. So, right. Yeah. The reason I ask is that, as you know, there is the accusation, right? And then there is society and bad faith characters, if I may call them that are using this opportunity to attack not just the institution but the school as well. There's a lot that could be said in the way it's been handled. But speaking to the both of you, you see pictures in social media. You hear the accusations leveled against students, former students of these institutions. Abdisamad, tell us a bit about your experience in that, in seeing these pictures and these photoshopped some of them, clearly. If you could speak to that, what is your opinion in
Well, I don't wanna have the same conversation that I would have with my grandmother with your audience, I would say, because with my grandmother, I'm trying to explain to her that there is a Photoshop, that some of these like photos have been manipulated or jerry-rigged, or the full extent of the article that was written on a student that talks about the fact that he studied Quran when he was 10 years old, and all that has not been shared with the public. They just big a clickbait, and then they say, oh, this person is going back to Somaliland to Christianize folks. So like that kind of conversation I will have with my grandmother. With our audience, with your kind of audience, I think I would say, like, you guys know better. How I would feel is how you would exactly feel if somebody took your picture, but if blasted it all over social media, and they just said this person is Christian, or they've been converted to a different religion, or one time they're like hardcore Jews, or another time they're homosexuals. Like, which one are we? Are we homosexuals, or the Christians, or the Jews? Because those three groups of folks are not necessarily best friends either, right? So I think it's a responsive, like, I mean, my opinion is just like, it's terrible, but it's our society. Misinformation spread is in America too, where the minimum level of education is at high school level. Now, what do you think of it, like society that 70% of the folks have not been to even high school, right? It's natural that people will be susceptible to misinformation. They can be easily misled, but I think it's an obligation. I don't care which part of the Somali territories you're from. Like, as long as you are remotely educated, remotely can understand wrong from right, I think it's an obligation that all of us come together to like be more than the folks that are trying to mislead our society and trying to just basically cause havoc, like wreak havoc in our society. Like, we have like few places that are safe for Somalis to go, and like I think it will be very dangerous, and we will be on the wrong side of history if we just stay silent.
Right. Fahima, same question. Obviously, you've seen the pictures. You've seen, characters who are using this, issue as a wedge issue, but individually, it's, who feels it knows it most, right? So it's about you guys. How does it make you feel when you see these pictures, and what would your response be?
I think I have two feelings. I am very angry, and at the same time, I think I expected this to come out of any successful organization. And this is not unique to Somaliland. I think it happens all across the world. I think I would just like to point out the hypocrisy of the diaspora people. Abdisamad is in Minnesota now. There are Somalis in Minnesota who live in St. Paul. Who was St. Paul? They are sending their kids to St. Mary, St. Extra. Who are these saints? They are okay with sending their kids to schools that are taught by Christians, Jews, and all of these different people, because they know it's okay. They know that their kids are not being converted. They're comfortable with that. But here, they want to go on Facebook, and look at Photoshop pictures, knowing what the facts are, telling me, a kid who received a full scholarship to Abarso and is now competing with the best students in the world, who should teach me which school I should go to, as though they are the guardians of my religion. And I think it's really sad. It's very hypocritical. They know that we are not being converted. They know the truth. However, they chose to ignore the truth. They're either silent or they are going with the flow and agreeing what people who want to spread lies are spreading. And it's sad to me because, here are many Somalis in Minnesota sending back tons of money back home, who created a sense of dependency. And, Why would you want your kids to go to Libya and call you from there asking for money when you can send them to schools like Abarso and they can go and create a better future for themselves? If this is this, I think this is a political situation, and people are trying to bring Abarso into this. Abarso is a successful institution. Harunta Dhaqanka is a successful institution, and people are trying to destroy these institutions. People have a different agenda, and Abarso isn't one of them. They're just using Abarso as a medium to do so.
So there's two things clearly. One is the accusation, and the second is how that allegation and accusation is handled. With my experiences, I think you two are the fourth graduates that I've spoken with on this subject, and you're adamant and clear about your path and journey through Abarso and through North America. And what I can understand is why is the institution is quiet? Why is our government, the Somaliland government, is taking an aggressive way of responding to this when, you know, the proof is right there. We don't have any converts. We don't have any parent coming forward and saying this is happening. I don't understand why and how it's been handled. If either one of you wants to address that, I'm okay with that. But I think that's what's adding to the fire. That's the fuel that's adding to the fire. Like the arrest of Oldoon, to me, could have been handled differently. But you know, hindsight, it's 2020, right? I don't have to make that decision. Someone had to make that decision. But for me, what is the latest? What is your view of the latest allegation that at least Joy was spreading or converting and is a former pastor, and she works there now? I don't know what the answer to that is, but I would love to hear you guys address that.
Yeah, so the president of Somaliland spoke publicly praising both Barwaaqo and Abarso. Right. You know, he did his part. We have officials publicly supporting our school. We have the school writing letters on Facebook. We have the alumni speaking against these allegations. So I think that there's enough information out there, and the government is conducting its own investigation right now. But I think that we have the support of people who clearly know what the facts are. With regards to Joy, and I have a sister who just graduated from Barwaaqo, and you know, from what I heard, Joy is an excellent leader, and that's what she is good at. She is an experienced educational leader, and she has been doing this for more than 27 years. Is she a pastor? Yes. Is she spreading? Did she come to Somaliland to spread, you know, her religion? I don't believe so, because when I looked at the data, when I looked at the facts that are out there, I couldn't find any evidence. Trust me, I was hesitant at first. I said, why did a pastor come to Somaliland? And I think that the school could have done an in-depth research before they hired her. But the school made a mistake, and a mistake should be handled the way it is, just a mistake. And people could logically say, you know, we don't feel comfortable with a pastor being in Somaliland teaching our kids, instead of taking, you know, 5 bathrooms and saying that teachers and students use these bathrooms together, photoshopping our flag to a rainbow flag, and insulting our president.
Abdisamad, your final thoughts on how the accusations and the way the accusations was handled. What's your point of view, and what is the best course forward?
I think, I mean, like you said, hindsight is 2020. I still don't know a lot of the information around Oldoon's arrest. I think there is a civil liberty question there. And from that point of view, I don't think anybody should be arrested for what they say. But having said that, like I think it, like a lot of people are making it seem as though Oldoon said, oh, there is a pastor who's the head of Abaarso, and then he was all of a sudden taken um, to the jail. Like there is a trend. Like Oldoon has been negatively covering Abaarso for so long. Right now, he's put my pictures all over news media saying these are the folks that have been converted. He's not only targeting the administration that he sees as like foreigners that are leading our like teaching our children. He's targeting us. He called my friend like Badari, a pastor, and he said he's in Somaliland spreading Christianity. When in fact, I know my friend has not been back to Somaliland since he came here for college and is now happily married in Minnesota, right? So like the kind of person we're dealing with, yeah, like is he? Like, I'm 100%. I can publicly say Aldan is a liar. Does that mean he should be arrested for that? Absolutely not, because there are going to be a bunch of people that we see as liars. And should we be arresting everybody who tells a lie? Absolutely not. But I think the crux of the matter is there is a government in a very sensitive part of the world. Our peace and stability is not being brought by just talks and flowers. There are people, there are soldiers, there are people fighting for it. People have died for it. People are continuously watching and closely monitoring the situation on the ground. And all of a sudden, we've started like foreigners have seen in our country. We can now utilize resources, and international community is in talks with us. And all of a sudden, this guy told the public there is a pastor in your country. He didn't say she was a pastor. The way the narrative he's been building is she's in the process of converting your children. What do you expect from the public to do? They're gonna kill her. And the moment they kill her, it's done for. And everything we've been building for the past 30 years could be uprooted right there and then. So like, we're not just, I don't think we're just only dealing with a question of civil liberty here as some focus of intellectual capacity are trying to make it seem. And quite frankly, like the government, I mean, maybe they're not sharing some information, but I don't want anybody to be arrested in an illegal means and any way that's against the Constitution. But I'm sure the Constitution grants special powers in certain circumstances, and this could have been a very circumstantial arrest. Who knows?
Okay, I appreciate the both of you, both Fahima Abdi Ali and Abdisamad Aadan, both alumni of Abarso, currently in the United States, addressing these issues and conveying their message to our audience. I immensely appreciate and thank you for your time today and sharing your answers, and keep up the good work. You two are the quintessential Somali Muslims, in my opinion. Looking at the two of you, you don't exhibit any of the maligned accusations against you guys. And, you know, speaking to you off camera and on camera, you know, I see you guys were well-raised and well-adjusted young Muslim men and women. I appreciate it. Continue your success, and hopefully we could have more positive conversations in the near future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Hey, thank you for visiting our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top Somali related news in English by visiting us at somalidispatch.com. And you should also subscribe to our YouTube channel here to watch interviews with newsmakers. Thank you.